The trial of Karmelo Anthony over the murder of Austin Metcalf began today. Now, here are the facts as we know them. The incident occurred on April 2nd, 2025, at a high school track and field event in Frisco, Texas. Karmelo Anthony, who was 17 at the time, was a student at Centennial High School, yet he was inside the tent for Memorial High School, a place he wasn't supposed to be. During the confrontation, Karmelo Anthony threatened Metcalf and said, "Touch me and see what happens." As he was saying this, he pulled a knife out of his backpack, and Austin Metcalf died on the scene. Now, despite all of those facts, despite it being very clear that Karmelo Anthony was in a place he wasn't supposed to be, the defense is claiming that this was all self-defense. Take a look at the opening statements.
And this morning, both sides were allowed to give their opening statements in front of the jury, 20 minutes each, and the defense saying self-defense is useless if you wait until it is too late to use it. In that moment, when Austin makes the first physical contact, he reacts in a split, he meaning Karmelo Anthony, reacts in a split second of fear and chaos. Well, why didn't he just walk away? There's an answer. After Karmelo defended himself, he ran. He didn't stab twice. He dropped the knife right by the tent on the bleachers. Instead of running to the exit, he goes onto the track and walks right up to a coach and stayed with this coach until that officer arrived.
Well, despite that opening statement, today did not go well for the defense. It did not go well for Karmelo Anthony. But before we get into all of that, I want to touch on something that everyone's talking about, which is the fact that there are no black jurors here. So take a look at this headline. Karmelo Anthony trial begins after 0 black jurors selected from pool of 600 residents. And a lot of people are saying that this is going to make it impossible for Karmelo Anthony to get a fair trial, as if all minorities were blocked out from the jury pool. But that's not the case. In fact, the jury has many minorities. First of all, there are 3 Asians. There's 1 Muslim woman who wears a hijab. There's 1 Indian, and there's 1 Hispanic person, and the rest are white. So it is a very diverse pool. Now, that raises the question, though, why are there 0 black jurors? Well, first of all, it shouldn't matter the race of the person. They should be judging the trial just based on the evidence, based on the facts, and based on the rule of law. But both sides have the opportunity to interview, to check potential jurors and make sure that they're getting a fair shake here. So here's actually what happened before you get wrapped up in the social media uproar. Many of these black jurors actually outed themselves. They realized that they were biased, and they said, hey, I cannot be an impartial juror, and so they dropped out. They voluntarily said, I cannot do this. So you know what? Kudos to them for realizing that. Kudos to them for saying, hey, I shouldn't serve on this jury. And then others, when they were being questioned, they outed themselves as well. So according to The Blaze, take a look at this. Another potential juror who was identified as an educator in the Frisco Independent School District, where Anthony and Metcalf both attended different high schools, said, quote, "This is close enough to home that I'm not confident that I could be completely fair." But that is not all. Prospective jurors were also asked if Anthony's race and age would influence their judgment, and one potential juror, whom prosecutors identified as African American, said he would, quote, "have a hard time putting a brother in jail." Those aren't the only examples. Others said, Karmelo Anthony looks like a child. A child. I couldn't possibly put a child in jail. So that's why there were no black jurors in the jury. It's not because of racism. It's not because of white supremacy. It's not because the system and the establishment is out to get Karmelo Anthony. This is how justice is supposed to work. Yet people, they can't read past the headlines. They can't read past the emotional appeals of many of these groups that are trying to use this case to sow racial division. Well, the racial division is on full display here. There were protesters on both sides, both in defense of Austin Metcalf, wanting justice for him, and those defending Karmelo Anthony. And just take a look at the protesters coming out for Karmelo Anthony.
Only good cracker is a dead cracker. 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 Only good cracker is a dead cracker.
Keep in mind that that was happening pretty much right outside the courthouse. Now, they had to keep some distance. They weren't allowed to be right on the courthouse steps, but it was right there, just around the corner. Talk about the irony and the hypocrisy here. They're saying it was self-defense. They're saying that Karmelo Anthony was innocent and, you know, he was just protecting himself from the big, bad, white, racist boy. Yet here, you have his defenders coming out saying that they want to kill white people. That's essentially what he's saying right there. The only good white person is a dead white person. I mean, he said it in more colorful terms, but there's no other way to interpret what he's saying there. Again, the irony is just astounding. And it's not just that one group. It's not just that one man. Unfortunately, we saw this all day today.
He was not an aggressor. Karmelo was not an aggressor. He was minding his damn business when the boys came up to him.
We the crowd. We the creed. Karmelo Anthony will walk free. We the crowd.
They silenced Karmelo and his family.
Anthony will walk free. We the crowd. We the creed. Karmelo Anthony will walk free.
Talk about just not even understanding the facts. When those white boys came up to him, no, he was at their tent. He was in a place he wasn't supposed to be. He was being intrusive, he made a threat, and he followed through on that threat. And unfortunately, this isn't the first time he's been violent. We will get to that later in the video, but I did want to go through some of what happened at the trial today. So after those opening statements, it was 20 minutes for the defense, which is Karmelo Anthony's side, and then 20 minutes for the prosecutors, those seeking justice for Austin Metcalf. Well, the first witness on the stand was called there to analyze the video, and there was video of the altercation. Now, the witness, who is a forensic video expert, basically said you can't tell what they're actually arguing about in the tent because the video is so far away and so grainy that you can't read their lips. You can just tell that there are people inside the tent. You can tell that there was an altercation that happened. The next witness was actually Austin Metcalf's coach. His name is Rob Starr. This is a picture of him, and he testified that the tent is supposed to be a safe space for the athletes. He also said that athletes from opposing teams are not supposed to go to that tent, and it's usually not supposed to be open for guests, friends. It really is just a safe space for the athletes. Now, his coach, Austin Metcalf's coach, he did break down on tears on the stand. He was just crying, and apparently the entire courtroom broke into tears. It was just an extremely moving testimony. Here's more right here. Austin Metcalf's track coach cried on the stand as he recounted seeing the star athlete after he had been stabbed by Karmelo Anthony. What I do see is Austin on the ground, and his face is purple, and he has a big hole in his chest, Starr said. This is the coach. He said Austin Metcalf's twin brother, Hunter, pointed at Anthony, and Starr, the coach, went over to where Anthony was. I asked him. He said, Metcalf put his hand on me. Karmelo Anthony was hysterical. I jumped the gate, and I went to Hunter, and he was hysterical. I just knelt down, and I prayed with him. Starr, the coach, sobbed. I just knew Austin was gone. Now, after that, Coach Starr was questioned and cross-examined on the stand, and I think this is one of the most interesting moments. Obviously, no video, no photos were allowed inside the courtroom, but there is a sketch artist who did sketch this out, and you will see Karmelo Anthony right there. You'll see he is in a light gray suit. The reason I bring up what he's wearing is because the prosecution asked a really interesting question, and Coach Starr's answer, I think, says a lot here. So, the prosecutor asked if Karmelo Anthony, looks different today compared to the day of the stabbing. And what did Coach Starr say? He said, yes, sir, he's clean cut today. Clean cut today? That implies that Karmelo Anthony is not usually clean cut. That implies that he usually is unkempt or doesn't dress up well. And look, I know that your hygiene and how you carry and present yourself doesn't necessarily mean a lot to many people, but if you think about it, it can say a lot about not just your character, but what you think about yourself, what you want others to think about yourself, how you behave, the social circles you run in. And so, again, that won't be a make or break factor in this case, but it does start creating this pattern of behavior, this pattern of character that could come back to haunt Karmelo Anthony. It's also important to note that Coach Starr actually has known Karmelo Anthony for at least a year. So for him to say that he is clean cut today, not just implies that he was slovenly or unkempt during the day of the stabbing, but that he usually does not carry himself well. Well, the last person who was testifying and questioned on the stand was a trainer, and the trainer confirmed alongside Coach Starr that the tents are supposed to be for the athletes. They're basically not supposed to cross mingle. They're not supposed to bring in guests. So this here, you have multiple testimonies on the stand under oath saying that Karmelo Anthony was in a place he shouldn't have been. So this whole idea that it's self-defense, this whole idea that he didn't instigate any of this, I think is beginning to fall flat really fast. And there's actually this news clip that's now going around that, if you read in between the lines, really implies that Karmelo Anthony has a history of being violent. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Cat Dean 828 RL 1401. Thank you, Bob. Always so gracious of you. I appreciate you. Moon Fairy 11. Always great to see you. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. Well, this was aired on local news, and see if you pick up what I did.
One girl that we spoke with knew Anthony pretty well, that she says, and told us this.
I'm in shock because it's like, I wouldn't expect that from him. I only know him fighting and stuff, like, you know, but to take someone's life is just like a different level.
Okay, yeah, sure, she's surprised that it's a different level, but she knows him for fighting? She knows him for violence? Like, that's the reputation he had in high school? Again, that does not speak well to his character. That does not speak well to his reputation, his behavior. So what really worries me about this isn't the trial itself, because as I've been following the trial today, it really feels like things are going in the way of justice, in the way that will honor and respect the life of Austin Metcalf. What bothers me are all these protesters, not just in real life, but people online starting to cry that this case is racist, trying to, subvert and throw doubt on the outcome of the case before it's even been decided. And what they're really honing in on is the fact that there are no black jurors. But as I explained earlier, this is a very diverse jury pool. And on top of that, many of the black jurors, they were weeded out. Either they said, I'm going to drop out because I know I won't do a good job. And you know what? Kudos to them. Truly. That takes character to say, I can't be impartial, I can't be unbiased, and therefore I can't serve on this jury. I believe that those people deserve praise. And then others on the stand saying, oh, I don't know if I can be unbiased. And then, the prosecution saying, well, no, that person's got to go too. We need people who can just look at the facts and just look at the law. And yet there are those who want to sow racial division. They want to sow chaos. And they are using headlines in order to push that narrative, in order to push that propaganda, and we should not fall for it. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what stood out to you the most from today's trial of Karmelo Anthony? Let me know your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. For me, what stood out was Coach Starr saying that today, Karmelo Anthony was clean cut. I think that said a lot. Again, I know some people are going to say, Daniel, I think you're reaching into that, but I do think that it is yet just another tick in building this case, building this pattern of behavior and character. So yeah, what stood out to you? If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.